Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host TC and this is Top 5s, the only top 5 show in snowboarding that you come to see which boards are going to turn heads in the lift line. On today's episode we're going to be talking about the top 5 fun shaped snowboards of the 24-25 season. Keep in mind these boards are going to be more all mountain versatile than not. Number 5, the Alpha APX. This board is going to be one of the stiffer boards on the list. It does have a setback camber profile, so it's going to have a lot of rocker in the nose and a little bit more shifted back towards that back foot. Camber with a little bit of rocker in the tail. Now what that's going to do for this board is it's going to create it to be nice and stable, give you a little bit more back foot power for when you're carving and really throwing this thing on edge and even getting it in the air. But that being said, it is a very versatile board. You can butter on the nose, on the tail, it doesn't matter. You don't have to shift your weight a whole bunch on this thing to get it to press or butter. It makes it nice and versatile, and yes, it does have a sweet shape with a double cutout tail on it. If you want something a little bit softer with a little bit less tech in it, meaning carbon, you can go with the regular Alpha, and I would recommend that if you're a lighter guy like myself, or if you just don't want a board that's going to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit harder charging. Number 4 is the Romestal Fish. This board is super versatile where it has that lively tendency, but it's nice and stable. It's also not going to require a ton of effort to get this thing to pop. It almost feels like as you're riding it, it's already loaded up and you could just spring out of your shoes on this thing. It also is going to have a camber dominant profile with a spoon nose on it. So you're really only going to notice that spoon nose when you get into the powder or the slush. It really doesn't come into effect until that point, so you still have that full contact point to contact point edge control with it, but they give you a little bit extra when it comes to getting into powder with this. Number 3, the Yes Grates. Now this board is a true twin asymmetrical board, but it has a super cool shape to it where it is going to be camber dominant right in between your feet there, but it's going to have a little bit of rocker on the nose and on the tail, or switch it around if you want. If you're goofy, I'm regular, so that's how I see it. But this board is awesome. It is that all-around park board that you can take all mountain. It is stiff enough, probably the stiffest on this list actually, but this thing has great pop to it. It is gonna be a little bit wider, so if you do find that powder, you can still ride in it. Also, if you have a little bit bigger of a boot, you can fit it on there. You can get up to a 10.5, possibly an 11, depending on which brand it is. But this thing's not just pigeonholed into the park. You can take it really anywhere and have a great time with it. That nose and tail are super wide but have that really cool cutout shape on it, so when you're spinning, you're looking at your nose or tail, you're gonna see it. It looks kind of weird, but it's super cool. Just make sure when you are setting this board up that your heels go on the heel side, and that way you're not gonna ride it backwards where your toe side turns are super hard and your heel side turns are just absolutely terrible. They make this board so you do have a specific heel side, and make sure that you set it up that way. Since you're having so much fun watching this video, why don't you like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. Number 2, the Battalion Beyond medals. This board is awesome. It's made for that crew, and honestly, I think anybody could ride this board and have a great time on it. My favorite Battalion board that they make. It is going to be camber dominant, where that 3BT is actually after the contact point, so it really only comes into effect if you find yourself in fresh powder. But when you go and lay this thing on edge, it carves very well. It's nice and responsive, super easy to get edge to edge, but the main thing I love about this board is the pop on it. This board has tons of snap and pop to it without even trying. That's my favorite part for sure. It just feels so good to get in the air on this thing, and it feels super effortless. It is truly that all mountain versatile board that you really don't have to put all that much energy into it. Anybody can really ride this from that beginner intermediate stage all the way to super advanced. Anyone's gonna have fun on it. One of my truly favorite boards. Honorable mentions. Remember, these are all great options with super fun shapes that are really good for all mountain versatility. They just were unable to crack our top 5. The first honorable mention is going to be the Stranda Biru. This is a great mixture in between a free ride board and a Freestyle board, that classic party board where you have almost a freestyle core in it so you can still butter, press around, have a good time. But that edge hold is going to be more like that free ride board where you can really lay into it and hold a good edge. The second board on the list is going to be the Nerd Superposition. This board is super fun, felt like home to me, where it actually felt like a softer, damper Jones Stratos, where honestly the shapes are very similar, but this one's just going to be a little bit more approachable. Just because you don't really have to be on your A game the whole time with this, you could take a run off, just relax with your friends, and pretty much just kind of have a little bit more playful experience with it. And the final honorable mention is the Salomon 6-stick. This board is going to have that classic 6-stick shape where you remember from the first couple of years there. So they just brought that back, softened it up just a tad, but it's still an awesome board where it's got that classic pencil shape to it. It is gonna be a little bit more powder focused, but you could still take it all mountain and have a good time, especially if you're my size or a little bit smaller. It's a great board for you. If you're like Avran size or a little bit bigger, it might be a little bit too soft. Remember, these have been our honorable mentions. They're all great boards, just unable to crack the top 5 this year. If you're looking to get more involved in the Angry Snowboarder community, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. Sure, I could explain it here, but we have a great video over there getting into it really in depth. And the number 1 fun shaped board of the 2025 season is the Nitro Cannon, aka the BBC, the Big Black Cannon. This board has one of the coolest shapes out there. You're gonna wanna get it in the 203. Sure, they do make it in 2 sizes, but that 173 is worthless. Get the 203, get the big dog, and just have fun with it. The board is really easy to turn. It does not ride like a 203. It rides like maybe 156 or so. Pretty much the point I'm trying to get is it's not gonna be that long. You have plenty of rocker on the nose, plenty of rocker on the tail, so it is super fun. You don't have to worry about it being a bear to turn or anything like that. The one thing I would keep in mind is it does pop kind of funny, so when you do ollie, just try to stay back and you'll just actually feel that nose and tail kind of flap like a bird. Maybe it'll get you a few extra inches off of that side hit there. As always, guys, I've been your host, TC, and this has been the top 5 fun shaped boards of the 2025 season. Are you gonna buy one on this list? Leave a comment down below. If you're looking for something with more of that popsicle standard shape, why don't you go check out one of our other top 5 lists? I'm sure we have a board for you.